these are the power rankings going into playoffs. Now, these are how likely I think the team is to win the championship. Obviously, some teams are eliminated, and you'll see them higher than teams that are still in the playoffs. But we'll get to that. So, number 20, Detroit. We all gotta like applaud Hayden. Like, this dude's been a fucking legend. Like, just grinding it out all season long. Hasn't complained one single bit about his roster. He just showed up to his games. He's done his battles. This dude's a fucking legend. Pittsburgh, this coach will be fine going into next season. Rough schedule, rough season, very hard team to use. This is the second most winning coach ever coming into this season. That's crazy. He's won the second most amount of games ever coming into season 2. He'll be fine next season. Carolina, he has the most enthusiasm. Him and Just Boy, like insane enthusiasm. I can't wait until he comes back in season 5. Kansas, very, very rough schedule. Very rough schedule. Said at the start of the season that the top end of this team, very good. If you can utilize trick rooms, sticky webs, like completely confuse the opponent, you'd go far. I didn't really think he did that this season, and the back end of his roster was a little weak, and that kind of got exploited against the best teams, which he kind of had to face week in and week out. So I think it could be a very much improved team next season. Minnesota missed the playoffs again. I really wanted Onyx to make it. I really did. It's the third season in a row. He kind of like lost in week 5, but if he won, he would have made the playoffs. It's rough. It's rough. It breaks my heart. It really does. But I think his roster's solid. It's a strong roster. I definitely think you can build around it and improve it. So I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. I think season 4 is it's his season. I think he makes playoffs. He does. I think he does. Now, 8 to 15. Some people aren't going to be very happy with their ranking here. I'll be honest. I feel like it's more a massive tie for 8th place between 8 and 15 than it is a straight down ranking of this team's better than this team. Like, it really feels like an 8-way tie. Like, these teams are very, very even. It is so hard to order them. It's crazy. So, Green Bay, it's a new coach. It's a very passionate coach. The reason I have him at 15 is I feel like he's a little bit inexperienced, and I don't think he's quite ready to win the championship. I think with one more season under his belt, coming into season 4, which would be his second season in draft, I think this team's scary. They kind of came up hard at the end of the season. This is going to be a team to watch out. I think he's going to rebuild the team in his own way. This will be a scary team next season. So, Rams and Las Vegas. Let's talk about these two teams real quick. So, Vegas is 4-1, I believe. Very good team. And then the Rams as well. When I watch these games, I don't really feel like they have a plan. They just battle and they just kind of win. But I feel like they don't have a strategy and like a game plan. So when they battle, it feels like they just kind of throw in their win conditions and just hope. And I could be wrong. I could be a fucking idiot. I could be completely wrong, and they could just have a plan, and I'm just not seeing it, and I'm the idiot. But I feel like when they come against the good teams, you're really going to need a strategy, and you're really going to need to protect your win conditions. I feel like they're a little loose with their win conditions, and I feel like that might hold them back from winning a championship. Chicago, Beartix is on fire. This team's scary. I don't know if you're. This is the team that's kind of come up out of nowhere, and you do not want to fight them in playoffs. Like, this team could knock off anyone, and it is scary. Buffalo, very good team. Kind of had maybe a little ranked a little too low. The coach is good, very good. He won a championship, run up season 1. The problem with this team, and why you could argue it being lower, is if we look at the rankings right now, they have faced Miami 3 times. They haven't won yet. This is a defensive team who has a terrible matchup against the number 1 ranked team, because this defense just can't simply switch in to the offense of Seattle, making it almost impossible to win. Like, how do you win with a defensive team if your defense gets destroyed by the offense of the opposing team? It's very hard. For him to win playoffs, I think he's going to need Miami and Seattle to both get eliminated. Next round, he'll then also have to hope that he doesn't face either of these teams next round, which is a 50-50% chance. Probably, maybe not 50-50. I'd have to actually look at the standings and look how likely he is to fight each matchup. But then he would face Denver or New York. Can he beat Denver? Yes. Can he beat New York? Yes. We're talking matchup wise, this team can handle those teams. I don't know if he will ever be able to beat Miami and Seattle in like a playoff scenario where coaches going all out. I don't know if his roster can just hold up. It has nothing to do with the coach. It has nothing to do with the coach. I just don't know if the roster can. I know how to exploit it, and they just can't do anything against Seattle. So it'll be interesting. Tennessee, this team, I kind of had ranked a little too low, disrespected a little too much. I think Frost is probably the best tier 2 coach. I think he is the best tier 2 coach. Out of all the coaches in tier 2, he's the best. He is very, very good. He's just a little inconsistent sometimes, and sometimes he lets these emotions get the best of him in a battle and gets tilted a little too quickly. But when things are kind of clicking, it's pretty scary. Philadelphia started strong, kind of went downhill. It'll be interesting to see if they could like pull it back together. And then Jacksonville's, what did we say a few weeks ago? This team's coach has to prove himself. He has to prove that he can win multiple games. He did that. He's 4-1. He's 4-1. He beat me. He deserved that win. He played very good. The thing is though, the reason he's not amongst the tier 1 teams and he's still in the tier 2 teams. Tier 2 I believe is like 6 to 15 right now. But the reason I think he's in tier 2 still, he does make a lot of misplays in his battles, and not one of them was taken advantage of by the opponent. Not one. In the playoffs against the top teams, they will get taken advantage of every single time. So he would have to cut out those mistakes completely. Wild Chargers, the coach might be an alcoholic. I heard he was admitted to rehab. He's going to rehab in the off season, so we should all add him in the Discord and just like show some love to him. But hopefully he can like pull it together, get his act together in season 4, and not like miss his games because he's passed out on the sidewalk and doesn't show up hungover or drunk to week 5 and get eliminated from playoffs again. Houston, very, very, very good team. It was like unanimously the number 1 team. Everyone thought it was amazing, but they missed playoffs, which is kind of strange because the coach is good, the prep's good, the team's insane. So I have to rewatch the battles to actually find out why they didn't make playoffs. But I feel like it might just be like a little inexperience. And I know he's in a lot of draft leagues, and draft leagues are a lot to handle. I have been playing since X and Y. It's like years and years and years. I can't handle more than 2. Like it's just too much. It's just too much, and this dude's in like a lot, and he's very new to it, so I think that might be why. It's like a lot on his plate. So 1 to 5, I think, are the top tier teams. These are the tier 1 teams. These are the teams most likely to win the championship. So you'll notice the big one, the kind of thing that you probably saw straight away, and you're kind of waiting for me to talk about it, is Denver at 3 and then Miami at 2. So the reason that I have Miami above Denver. So at the start of the season, I said my team wasn't great. I didn't really like it that much. When I was prepping for my team, I was like, where are my good Pokemon? How the hell do I use this team? I don't know how to. I feel like I have nothing. Well, I think I've really figured that out, and it's all clicking now. It's coming together. I just know how to use it. It's all like, you do not want to fight me in playoffs. But the reason I have Denver at 3 is because this is how likely you are to win the championship. I have a lot of experience, but the main reason that Denver is at 3, because this team was ranked 20 at the start of the season. Now, we all know that the coach has played out of his mind, and he deserves that 5-0 record. But if we really look at it, really look at his team, and we're like, how likely is this team to win the championship? It was ranked 20 because it was ranked 20 for a reason. And the coach itself would probably say that his team is still probably the 20th ranked team it'll take out the coach, right? If we take out the coach and just gave it like an average thing, he'd probably say his team's probably like 18 to 20. Like, no one knows how to use XSplout better than him. But his team does have a lot of holes in it, and it can be exploited. And when he's fighting the best coaches and the best teams back to back to back, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to kind of string those wins together and then win the championship. It's going to be difficult. His team is naturally going to be on the back foot in every matchup. He's proven that he can win and pull it together, and that means like almost shit all. But he's going to have to do it now against the best teams. And I think that is way harder than it sounds. So I'm going to put Miami at 2. And it's tough, but you could almost put New York at 3. Honestly, I'm going to straight up. You could swap 2 and 4 in any order, and it's fine. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, they're all pretty equal. But if I really had to pick it apart and like, I just think Denver's roster can be exploited a little easier than the others. Then it just comes down to the coach, and that his new coach, he's shown that he's fucking insane. But it's his first season. We need to see if he can still put it all together and win a championship. Almost the same for New York, but his team doesn't necessarily have the same holes as Denver's does. But the coaching I've seen from Denver has been so impressive that I'm still going to have them at 3 over 4. Cleveland, they've kind of been like lagging at the end of the tier 1 teams all season. I'm still putting them in tier 1, still keeping them in tier 1. This team can win the championship. They're just kind of hanging in there. They're just hanging in there. If they come out and win the whole thing, am I going to be surprised? Nope. This team can easily win. And then Seattle, number 1. Seattle's just the best team. The coach, very consistent. The team's consistent. The team's easy to use. So strong and easy to use. It's just like a recipe to win the championship. And the thing is, the pressure's all on him. This is the team that's been at number 1 since like week 2. Everyone knows this is the best team. Everyone knows that this is his season to win. The pressure is all on him now. It's all on him. Everyone's going to be looking to knock him off. So we'll see. We'll see if he can handle all the pressure. So those are the rankings for season 2. How likely I think teams are to win the championship. If I had to pick a dark horse team, so a team not in tier 1, I think Chicago and Jacksonville. I think they're pretty scary. I'll probably lean Jacksonville because the coach for the Bearticks is brand new. So he's shown he can play. He's an insane coach. Like, he's grown so much from week 1. But I think next season will be the year he kind of puts it all together. If he keeps improving, then I think next season he could be a real threat for the championship. I still think he's just learning, and that's okay. So I think Jacksonville's kind of a dark horse team. And I think Tennessee might be a little bit. I think Buffalo really, really, really would be, if it wasn't this season. Like, what's the best way to explain it? If the opposing teams weren't as bad of matchups for him. So like his matchup against Seattle, terrible. Like right now, this current Seattle team, terrible. Against Miami, terrible. Against Denver and New York and Cleveland, it's not good at all. It's not good at all. Like, Chiyu just destroys it, and he's got Gligar, which kind of destroys it. Like, his team is just, it does match up well with the top teams currently. It's like one of those video games where you get like that character who's like absolutely insane, but the meta is just like really bad for him. That's kind of Buffalo right now. The team's good, the coach is good. It's just that it doesn't match up well. So it's going to be very hard to win the championship. If he does, and he overcomes like these terrible matchups. Like, these aren't just bad matchups. These are disgustingly awful matchups for him. So he's going to have to play out of his mind and like find a way to... The advantage he does have is that he kind of knows what the opponent's going to do, because it's just so good against. It's just he just destroys his team. Like, there's only one thing to do, really. Like, against me, I've kind of done the same thing. Against Seattle, it's a little difficult because like you just don't switch in, and it's like if you're a defensive team, you can't switch into an offensive team. There's really no way to win. It's like almost impossible. Because you somehow have to make your offense beat his offense, and when you just have a team with like Skarmory and Umbreon, you can't really do that. So he's gonna have to pull off some shit that I don't even know that can be done. So if he beats Seattle in playoffs, holy shit, I'll lose my mind. Vegas, Rampardos. Just got to protect the win conditions. Just got to protect the win conditions. Like, put a real game plan together and just don't lose it. Don't fumble it. Just lock in on what you need to do. Just think a few steps ahead and just don't play only in the moment. And they could go far. They could go far. Philadelphia's the interesting one. Like, they're just kind of slowly, progressively gotten worse throughout the season. But if they can like return to that form early in the season, it'll be scary. It'll be scary. So yeah, they're the rankings. Let me know what you think.